Hello, it is Friday the 11th of October. I hope everyone's doing okay because it's been a pretty miserable week really for altcoins and most of crypto with pretty nasty pullbacks. Some stuff's done pretty okay, mostly in the meme coins. Like the top performer I think is Popcat, and then Dog with Hat and Bit Sensor's doing all right. Sui's brilliant. Brett is up like 7% on the week. WorldCoin, which yeah. So the meme coins are it. As I said before, I got it wrong. I thought that gaming coins would be the next big thing, but actually meme coins are where it's at. And the little new releases, even if they, you got to bear in mind that 90% of these are going to come to nothing, if not more. 60% probably of them are scams. But that doesn't mean they're not great trades if you don't plan on just piling all into one and thinking it's going to change your life. They really are great trades. You just don't want to be the last one holding a bag of them. So let's start with Bitcoin anyway. Today here on the weekly, you can see that we have been in a really nasty sideways trend correction since March. I saw somebody tweet today, they said this is the longest correction ever for Bitcoin, and I have to say that's wrong. If we go, I feel like we're in a very similar situation to 2019, and let's take these off here, because in 2019 it kind of feels like we're at a point of indecision where we've been in this really big correction. It feels like it's time to break out. And if we were to draw the declining channel here in Bitcoin, even when we got a breakout, we couldn't take out these previous highs, and we did another leg lower. This is a really good lesson for when you see a chart that's been in a pullback that makes a declining wedge like we did here in Bitcoin, and their legs narrow, in other words they tighten up on themselves like we did here. For me, the first target when you break out like this is always the parallel channel on the opposite side. So here we broke out, but if we draw it as a parallel channel from this low and then project it from this high, which we need to do it this way, you can see that that's kind of sometimes you have to connect to the high, but that's kind of where it all went wrong really for Bitcoin. So we had a little bit of a false breakout here, but that was a really good first target. So when you see a declining wedge like this, which this was, I haven't drawn it quite right, but the first target really should be to, if this is just a bigger parallel channel, and in Elliott Wave they say that trending market's always contained in a parallel channel, that should be your first target or the previous swing high. And this is what happened here with Bitcoin, and we ended up doing another nasty leg lower, despite what everybody thought was a big breakout, and we were all on board. Anyway, let's look at how, because if it's not the longest correction in Bitcoin, because if we look at in time at how long this one took, and this is a weekly chart, remember, and we measure it to where we are now, so that was the 2019 sideways chop. You can see, even if we project it from the high that we made in March, gosh, we're not going to finish this correction until the week of the 25th of November if we last as long as the correction that we made in 2019. If we measure from this high and connect these highs here, we're also kind of a bit of a level. So if this is a parallel channel and we connect it on the highs, these are a little bit woolly when you draw these parallel channels. In fact, let's draw the parallel here like this, especially when they've got very spiky lows. So we could argue, and some people, if we connect it from this first high, so this high to this high, then we could argue that actually we are right on the top of this parallel channel here if we connect these first two highs. So we had first two highs, very nice touches, third touch, false breakout, fourth touch, false breakout, fifth touch, we're not even going there. So, and we projected it from these lows. So, perhaps our breakout sign will come a little bit earlier, but what we see at the moment is still sideways in the channel and really not much going on off the lows. Now when you're doing this and you're in a really nasty sideways trend, I tend to look for shorter term time frames trades. I look for shorter term buys, looking to see if this is the one that's going to break out of this nasty correction that we are in. And so, you know, one good thing you can say about Bitcoin is that all of these moves have been really nice three-wave corrective moves. So we go 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, and so on. And here we are in the middle again, doing the same thing. Potentially, we've pulled back to these daily moving averages, previous swing low, and potentially we could be beginning a pretty nice swing higher here. If I measure this most recent swing, this is also pretty nice textbook bounce off the 50% retrace of this most recent swing. If I go from this low, we're holding a very nice 38 fib swing here. So back above that daily 50 moving average, potentially we've made a really nice move. Now if I go down a few time frames, my favorite one to look is the hourly, and we see where we are, then I would say the 236 fib from this high is what we have overcome this morning, and that points to more upside. You can see we had a little pause after this 236 fib. It was the resistance overnight. When you think you've got a big ABC, you have to put your fib retraces over both swings. Usually they work best. But for me, in terms of the hourly moving averages, I think we have got a date up here at 61,800 and the hourly 200 moving average and the 38.2 fib, and then we'll see if we get a little bit of a pullback to test this support or not, or if we blast above it and then we go level to level to level. And that's how I kind of like to see this, as a bit of a step ladder. If we put this back on before, you can see we had a pause at the 236 fib, very nice three-wave correction at the 38.2. We blasted through the 50% up to the 61.8, and we had a double top there. So these fib levels, you know, now we're down here, new low, move it down, and we'll do the same thing. So Bitcoin is looking to me like more upside, and 61,800 next, and then 62,700 if we blast through that level. If we go zoom out a little bit, and yeah, there is a little bit of resistance coming up at 61,800, isn't there, in this previous swing low, especially the we could argue this is a little bit of a head and shoulders top here, and we're going to be back testing the neckline. You can see it a little bit more clearly on the hourly, but yeah, it looks pretty positive. And there's been quite an interesting pattern in Bitcoin and ETH and crypto in general, and that is over the weekend, so Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we seem to do the opposite of what we did the rest of the week. So for example, last week we started with a really nasty sell-off, and then, you know, rallied from our turning point, or the low in Bitcoin was here on this Friday, and then we had a really nice weekend rally, got up here for Monday, and we've had a really nasty drop again. So sometimes it works the other way around. We have a really bullish weekend, and then this was Friday high here and a pullback, and the low was on Monday, and we go the other way. So having been a really nasty sell-off all week, 4 days, we are kind of due a bounce and another leg higher in Bitcoin, and ETH is doing pretty nicely as well. I marked this as a really nice long entry because, very similarly, this was a pretty textbook three-wave correction. I thought it's got that look. Let's take off the noise on here, and now we could argue, my target was the equal measured move going the other way, and the reason for that would be a textbook 50% retrace. Now my favorite reversal setup, bar none, is an equal measured move, swing, zigzag to a 50% retrace. So if we go from the high that we made at the end of September here in ETH to this low on the 3rd of October, you can see that this 50% here, we kind of tagged it and didn't quite get above it. So I'm looking for a retest of this high and potentially a little bit higher, 61.8 next. And you can see here, this 236 fib, it was really strong support and resistance, and we've taken out these previous double bottom, previous double top highs, and we're breaking higher. And at that level now, 2,409 should become support. And whenever you think you've got an ABC, which I think is what we've got here in ETH, your kind of minimum target is the 786, and the 50% is a bit of a wobble. So we go from this high to low, this 50% level in the middle, 2,425, could give us a bit of a wobble. But by that I mean we've got 5 waves up, we could have a little bit of a bigger pullback here. But the first target for me is up here, 2,479, and then the second target is going to be the equal measured move from this low. So I'm going to measure from this low to this high, say 2,537, and retest that kind of 50% level in the middle. So don't be surprised, you know, having seen a pretty nice 5-wave move up in ETH off these lows on lower time frames, if we don't see a bigger pullback. Usually when you see 5 waves up, the first, if you're going to keep trending higher, the previous swing low is where you pull back to. So that would mean 2,400 should now be support. I'm long already, so for me, I'm going to say, all right, a close and hold back underneath 2,400. I'm going to get out of the way for a bigger pullback, but I really like the price action here. You can see this high we retested with a swing failure pattern, kind of messy double top here, and we've done the opposite on the lows here. In fact, we do this a lot in crypto. Here was the low, here was a false breakdown, and same to the highs. And so this was a really nice bottoming pattern. Now, if you're one of the people that measure the swings, which I did, and get in early, so if I measure from this high to this low, you can see that this was a really nice textbook equal measured move level. The early buyers always get punished. So here you can see we had a really nice bounce off this level. It was a really textbook equal measured move reversal. We came all the way back and kind of shaked people out, but couldn't close underneath it. So for me, if you rode out the shakeout, or hopefully you were asleep for it or missed it, but because it's better for your kind of psyche. But yeah, a really nice then double bottom bullish reversal. False breakdowns in any direction are always pretty powerful reversal signals. So ETH I think looks good for higher, but let's see if it's outperforming Bitcoin, because that's going to be key. Because when I look at it, the swings that we're making in ETH against Bitcoin, and I need to go to the daily to show you this. When I look, in fact, or the 4 hours probably better, because you can see. When I look at the move here that we made off the low in the middle of September, we made what I thought was very nice 5 waves up, and this was a textbook, pretty deep, but a 3-wave correction. We're going pretty slowly off these lows. It's a little bit choppy, so I'm not going to get too excited that the bottom is in yet. But big picture, the way I look at targets is, if this was 5 waves and a 3-wave pullback, we should see at least another swing higher with a relationship to this first swing. So this is how I get my targets, really. The 61.8 from this low, and then a retest of the highs and the equal measured move at 0.0425. So far so good. It's, you know, edging up slowly, and ETH is maybe having a little bit of a comeback. It's about time, right? It's ETH's turn. Okay, let's take a look at some more charts of interest. I'm going to start with some little ones, and we'll do some bigger ones and some more fun ones. And ones maybe you haven't looked at because they have quite interesting chart setups that you could use. Let's tidy up my charts and get going here. Okay, first one is a big one. Let's start with NEIRO. It's been around a while. It's a bit of an OG coin. What I really like about this one, again, is big 3-wave moves. So this first rally from the October 2023 low a year ago was a really nice big ABC. And so what I would be looking for in this one is a really nice ABC going the other way. So we did an equal measured move higher, we've done an equal measured move back, which means we're in a bigger 1, 2, 3. So what I'm looking for is the next leg higher. And I think I said it before, but my favorite setup is when you have two equal swings to a 50% pullback. So if we go from this low to high, you can see in NEIRO we would get two equal swings from the low a year ago, and our target is 10.83, which is pretty cool because here we are down at 4.72. The problem is we haven't bottomed yet, or haven't got a clear signal we've bottomed. If we bounce from here and hold these daily moving averages and get back above this swing high, swing low pivot level in the middle here, you can see it's a pivot level all the way back to 2022. It's at 5.62. So close and hold above 5.62 says that we're on our way, and 10.83 becomes the target. So could we see potentially a better evidence of a bottom before then? Well, that's the meat in our trade, if you like. Well, if we look at where we are on the daily, I'm thinking, are we double bottoming here, you know, and have we kind of done 5 ways and 3 ways back, and are we going to see our next leg higher? It's not quite clear, isn't it? And here at this confirmation level, it's the previous swing high, and it's also the daily 200 moving average. So really, if you buy it tentatively before then because it looks like it's going, you've got to say that that's going to be quite tough resistance at 5.62 and kind of your first target. But it is starting to look like it has made a double bottom. So NEIRO. Now, not quite gone high enough. So when I've got a double bottom like this, high to low, the 236 fib, let's zoom out a bit here, is the first target we've got to overcome. And we're right at it, 4.76. We've had a little pause and a breather here, but I think if we can close above 4.76 or this hourly 200 moving average, which is really strong support and resistance, we are on our way up again in this one. So NEIRO looking for a retest of 5.62, and then if we can hold above 5.62 and that daily 200 moving average, we've got a really nice, we can start talking about a bottom and a really nice swing trade higher to 10.83 in that one. Another one that I look at a lot just because I made money on it before and I was looking to see if it's going to go again. Perhaps that's not a good idea for crypto, but Arbitrum. Now, if we look at where we are in Arbitrum, take everything else off, you can see that we are retesting the lows from March 2023 when this coin was launched. And double bottoms, double tops, they're always pretty fun trades if you can see if we're making a bottom. And so far, unfortunately, in Arbitrum, we haven't. We have made a big ABC. So I got excited here because this kind of looked like 5 waves. But what we ended up here was 2 equal swings off the low like this. So this swing and this swing were equal. So the most common retrace when you reverse after a big ABC is the 786 fib, right? So that means you put your fib retrace over both swings and you go level to level. We're going sideways here at the 61.8, so we could see a bit of a bigger bounce. We could see our correction end up looking like this. But the 786 is down here at 48.64, so I am not going to buy the bounces in this one. I'm going to wait and see what happens when we retest this 4.864 level. I'm being a little bit cautious, and no sign of a bottom yet in this one. And so whenever you look at this, you know, another good way in a trend, so this is a daily trend, but this works really well on an hourly, is, you know, if you think of a simple definition of a trend, it's lower lows and lower highs. If you're going to reverse that trend, you've got to take out that previous swing high, go beyond it, either at it or, and then that would be a reversal. But sometimes you go above it and you pull back and make a higher, so you get a higher high and then a higher low, and then you've got your trend reverse. So this previous swing high becomes really important, and you can see here, unless you can get above them, this previous swing high was resistance, we couldn't get above it. This previous swing high, look, we bounced here, couldn't get above it, and so that all the way down said that we were still in a downtrend, and that works on every time frame, you know, that you're looking at. But it works particularly well in hourly downtrends, you know, until you start flipping those highs and lows, you're still in a downtrend, unfortunately. Or that, unless you use moving averages, the hourly 20 moving average, every time you pull back to it, it's resistance or support. So no bottom yet in Arbitrum, but I'm watching it. One that I have been trading that I've had a lot of fun with is SUI. SUI, that's how they call pigs, isn't it? Again, previous highs and lows are always important resistance, and you see profit taking at these levels, and here we are a little bit stuck. So from the initial launch in May 2023, we're a little bit sideways, haven't been able to close last week above this level, and here we are back underneath it. I think if we can close above it, we've got a little bit further to go, just because I'm using these, again, measured swings. So this first swing from October 2023 to the high we made in March, if we project that here, that gives us a really nice target up here at 2.28, and we haven't quite got there yet. This swing was lovely 5 waves, so I think that this should be the same, and therefore we're in a little bit of a sideways wave 4 here. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, we're going to look for a wave 4 at these previous highs, and then another leg higher. The first target for that is between 2.28 and 2.4, but quite often wave 5s really extend, so I think we could end up in the 3.2, 3.4 zone. I'm not going to have, this would just be the first target for SUI. So for now we're sideways, building a wave 4, and I'm not quite sure the party's over yet, but one, again, that we just talked about that. Every time you pull back to a 20 moving average, it's usually a really good long entry, and we have not done that here. We didn't quite tag it. The best long entries you can see, if we look back previously in SUI, if you want a swing position rather than a shorter term trade, waiting for it to pull back to this hourly 20 moving average and then continue higher usually gives you a really good entry. And so there is room for this to just be first swing and then another swing before the bottom is in. If we go slightly down a time frame, you can see that the best pullbacks are usually 3 waves, and we've made a higher high, and it's not clear to me that this is 3 waves, you know. I think it's, I'm just being a little bit cautious with this one. It's not the clearest long signal yet, even though I really like it to continue higher in SUI. So there are some little tiddlers that I've been enjoying. One of them is enjoying trading non-playable coin. Now the reason that I'm kind of looking at this one, we could argue if we measure from the low to high and we look at this lovely 5 waves up here, that if we put our, so say we call this 5 waves up, which is a nice trend, and then we're looking for a 3 wave correction, which potentially is this, then we are sideways where this swing is 61.8 of the first swing, and that's a very common trouble level. It's also really sideways at these previous highs. But I also think from this low here, if we measure this swing, that we've gone 1, 2, 3, remember this is a trending market, this is wave 4, and I am looking for another leg higher, which at a minimum, if we make new highs and hold above 0.033, should make 0.046. First target, and second target would be where this swing is 1.618 of the first swing, very common, and that's at 0.0666. So we are sideways, not quite a long entry yet because we haven't broken out, but this one has pulled back to the daily 20 moving average very nicely. So when I look at the hourly here, you know, we could call it quite often, you know, it's very, when you see a sideways range, double top, double bottom, set levels, it makes it very easily. Sometimes though, when you have a slightly higher high here, we can make an F and we could go in this channel, but a breakout of this box or a close above that fib level, which is a 0.03329, I think we see another leg higher in this one and a wave 5, and wave 5s you very often extend if we look at a really nice 5-wave move. So this one on a verge of a breakout. Now if you're going to buy it on a lower time frame, you really kind of need pullbacks, and this is a really tricky level, but I kind of like this one and I'm going to trade it. If we can, I'm got a little at the moment. I'm going to buy more if we can hold above 0.033. I'm going to look for 0.046 next in NPC. NEIRO. This is another one where I'd like to see a wave 5. So we made very nice 5 waves off the lows in this one. At the beginning of September, the one that got listed on Binance here. We've made a very nice 3-wave pullback. And I feel like we're again trying to break out from a wave 4. So if we go from the low on the 3rd of October, we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, 3-wave pullback for this wave 4, and I want to see wave 5, the bigger wave 5, underway and to the target too. It's not quite clear. This one has been so choppy sideways. It's not quite clear we're done here, but there are a few things to like about this. We are back above our hourly moving averages. When I'm not sure, and I think this was a big 3-wave correction, I put my fibs on both swings and we go level to level to level. So, and then we use our fib balls. Let's hide those here. This is just simple for me. So this is a 61.8 fib, 0.0017. If you reverse there, you usually come back to the 38.2, something like this. And then I'm going to look for this to keep going higher. Again, we paused at this 236 fib, but whereas before this all looks very choppy and corrective moves, doesn't it, in NEIRO, suddenly we're starting to look like we're making a really trendy move. So that, and the next pullback in this one, if we can hold above these hourly moving averages, potentially next swing higher is underway. In fact, I'm going to go back and put my targets and reasoning on, and these are just fib targets, measured move targets. So 0.0022 next, and target 3 is at 0.003. So 0.0022 and then 0.003. I think the way this is behaving, that we may perhaps be beginning our next swing higher. But again, draw it in a channel, which we could easily be doing here. We're going to be really sure when we get a nice little breakout, and we haven't quite got that yet, but looking for it. And I think it'll be a nice trade if it does. Let's face it, in a market where not much is behaving or trending. So another one I have been trading or looking to get long, the little ones are, let's take, where are we, BABYBNB. It's a really, when you're looking at these ones making their first pullbacks and they're really deep, it's really depressing sometimes, waiting for that reversal to catch it. So this one is a really good lesson. So this looks like a declining channel, doesn't it? Remember? Now, I don't know, this is a third touch. So if we look what we did here on the upside, we had first touch here, end of September, second touch, third touch, false breakout. That is a bit of a reversal signal, unfortunately. But if we go the same now on the bottom of our channel, first touch, second touch, here's our third touch, false breakout. That means potentially we could be starting to bottom here. I don't know if we are or not. I'm going to look at the most recent swing, which comes from this high here on the 7th. So if we bounce here, my first target is going to be at least a 236 fib, but sometimes if you go from here, it's got to be that swing high, which I think is a little bit higher. So if you buy this tentatively, this is the level that we need to overcome, because this is very clearly a downtrend. We haven't been able to take out each swing high. We keep going lower. And so remember, it's that same rule about trend reversal. So we would say our first target is 0.068, and then our second target is going to be the top of this channel again, and then a breakout from there. We're on our way higher. Then we can apply that same rule about parallel channels, right? So if we break out from this declining wedge, the first place we're likely to wobble is where we are parallel to this bottom channel, all the way up here at 0.14. And well, when you're down here at 0.05, that's a pretty nice long way, isn't it? Now, we're not going to go there until we break out, and we're still in a downtrend. But this, having done this nasty reversal with a third touch here, this potentially is a pretty interesting level to watch. So if we can get here, get above, that would be a bullish reversal. For now, we're still in a downtrend with these hourly moving averages. You can see when we were going higher, the 20 moving average was really nice support. And when we got underneath it, it's very nice resistance. So we're going to go up to this previous swing high if we can take out this 20 moving average, I think. And then we'll see from there. Okay, I hope that's useful. In a market where not much is trending, let's see if Bitcoin can have a go today. But yeah, ETH might be worth a little bit of a punt too. Good luck.